Hello, my friends. I am here today with a lovely matchmaker from New York City, Alina Fatakova. Welcome to the show. How are you, Alina?
I'm doing well, Manisha. Thank you so much. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Alina is the founder of Monde Matchmaking. And and she is used to be the manager of one of New York's most prestigious jewelry galleries. So, Alina, I'm so curious how you ended up going from helping people choose out beautiful jewelry to finding something even more beautiful, which is love.
I know. Well, it's very similar, right? You have to find your special piece and then you find and fall in love with it. But of course, humans are definitely more complex to find. And it's just more about the sales techniques in the sense like when you sell someone something, you do need to get to know their taste, what their experience with, let's say other jewelry pieces was and what they like. And it's very specific a lot of times. And then you have to listen to that and see um, who you want to match them up with. So it's the same thing. And during that career, I learned how to listen, how to, satisfy the customer, but also like have my own suggestions. And I just learned a lot of different type of personalities. And I myself was single, so it was part of the reason why I started also doing matchmaking is
Oh,
because I loved connecting people, whether it was friendship, romantic, or business, and the relationships they flourished. So I was like, oh, okay, that's great. So that's what I want to do because New York City dating is not for everyone and it's pretty difficult.
wow. And have you been able to find love? Are you still looking?
Actually, that is a great story. 2 years ago, I started hosting my events and I published my first event on Eventbrite before Valentine's Day. And the first person the same day I published was actually my boyfriend. So I didn't know that at the time, but it's just kind of flourished. And yeah, it's an interesting story for sure.
That's amazing. Well, as it happens, I also am single, as you might have guessed, and I decided that to create a Valentine's Day event myself. So maybe I'll meet someone. Only one person has registered, and he doesn't want kids, so I don't know. But maybe when he sees this face, he'll change his mind. No, I mean, I guess that's really amazing. So, I mean, I have talked to quite a few matchmakers. I think you're number 15. And one thing I've noticed a lot of them say is that they will only match men because women are so hard to match. And I was wondering if you take a similar approach and maybe I think the thing that when I hear that, I feel very scared that I'm never gonna meet someone because it seems like women are so hard to match. So I would love if you could kind of share your thoughts on that question.
Sure, that is a great question. And yes, some matchmakers, they mostly work with men. And the reason behind it could be that women have more power usually in dating, right? So women are the ones that technically choose in the end of the day.
Really?
So, yes, because if we take any lady, like she obviously probably has a couple of suitors and but because of her own maybe what she's looking for, maybe what she's used to date and her own beliefs, sometimes it's not easy to focus or see what kind of person is really good for you. So
Mhm.
a lot of times it's basically just a lot of coaching that is involved with, helping a female client.
Wow, that's so you have hope for your female clients?
Of course. Of course. And that's why I work with them because I do have hope. I was
Yeah,
my own client, I guess.
I guess so. I would love to dig a little bit more deeply into that. So I'm 44 and I've done my fair share of dating coaching. I've taken it from many different angles, hypnosis, more traditional dating coaches who use kind of more of a sales approach. I've done the book Calling in the One 3 times, where you think about your ideal partner and then you try to become those qualities yourself. I've, really changed up my type a lot and kind of tried to intentionally date people who seem more nice and grounded as opposed to just, going after the hottie player. And I don't know, I still feel like I'm missing the mark. I think that most of the guys that I've been dating either, they just want one thing or they're kind of really just not in it to win it. Like, I went out with this guy this weekend and he was really nice. I mean, again, I was like, "Ooh, maybe I wouldn't have dated a guy like that in the past." He was kinda nerdy and quiet and, seemed to really like me, but now it's been 2 days and he didn't really make a plan for a second date yet. So, I'm just not sure what I'm doing wrong. I mean, I feel like I have been so voracious about collecting feedback about myself in order to improve, and also, you know, just tried to, like, really give people a chance, and it just seems like I'm missing the mark, and I don't really know why.
Mhm. And what is it that you do, in terms of, like, putting yourself out there? Is it dating apps only, or tell me a little bit about what are your avenues?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have been trying to go to events. Like, I'm a digital nomad, so there's meetups, and I went to a Christmas party. I did actually meet someone there, but then he also was kind of just not really, I don't know, like, he had drinking problem that was very apparent on day.
Okay.
And then I do go on the dating apps. I've been trying to be a little bit more careful in terms of only dating guys who seem to know they want a life partner. And then I recently organized my own mixer, just kind of not even with a singles intention, but just other entrepreneurs. Um, I tried going to a CrossFit class, but I sprained my neck, and then it turned out to be a fake CrossFit class, which
Oh gosh.
put me out of exercise for a while. I go to the coffee shop every day. Yes, so
So I do like the idea of you creating your own like community and mixers. It sounds to me like you are a community builder. And I know you might not be. Do you enjoy doing that
I
yourself?
loved it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, our mixture was just unbelievable. I mean, everybody who came was married, but it was like I made so many great connections.
So next time you can just for people who are not married and looking, for their partner, there's
True.
no shame in that, especially you're obviously openly looking for a partner, you're putting it out there. And that's one of the ways that I do recommend, especially you've spoken to so many matchmakers now. And just like a lot of us I support the idea of building your own community, right?
Mm,
And building those connections because it's not about just showing up to one event. It's
mhm,
about actually developing those relationships and kind of like peeling the onion. So when you organize those events, it's probably not just one time that the person will come. They might come a couple of times and hopefully more than that. And you get to
mm,
learn more about them. And the ones that stick around, they get to know you. The story with my partner, for example, it was not just like, oh, the sparks and chemistry were flying. I was actually helping him to set him up. And through that, I think vulnerable journey of him saying, well, she didn't respond to this, or like, me trying to do something about it, like helping him. We actually kind of had really great conversations, and he was really vulnerable with me, and he was also like, I think he saw one of the videos that I was actually single because I was going around with a sign, I'm looking for a husband in the middle of like New York. So he kind of understood that, what about her? Because he was not aware that I was single. And he invited me. So it was kind of an interesting development of story, but
yeah.
that's the kind of setup that will help potentially for you to find someone.
Amazing, so just become a matchmaker, and then Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I do see kind of some areas where I've missed the mark, certainly in terms of that consistent community, right? Where you can get to know people over time as opposed to just one 2-hour date. But I think that, I think that will be really helpful to me in terms of how I find people. Cause I can think about, like, it's so weird. Even when I broke up with I had one long-term boyfriend and he was an alcoholic. And when I broke up with him, I was a total mess. Like I was going to Al-Anon meetings. I mean, when you're with an addict for that long, you almost feel like an addict yourself. You're like addicted to addicts. So I had to go through my own detox and I decided to sign up for this group that specialized. It was like group therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy group. And
Mhm, mhm.
I was just like going to that group every day online and just sobbing my eyes out about every single thing. And some guy in the group asked for my number. And then we met up and I'm just like, oh, okay, like nice therapy friend. And we had this long talk and he just kept on talking about how he was, like, not ready because of, like, his toxic relationship. He didn't wanna go in a relationship, and I'm just total disaster. The person and then 2 months later, he's, like, trying to get me go out for drinks. And it was just, like, too much for me. Like, what is literally happening? Like, I thought this guy isn't ready for a relationship. Like, why is he asking me out? But I think, it's crazy how like, that vulnerability is attractive to people. I almost didn't wanna go out with him because of, like, I wouldn't wanna date someone who's, like, attracted to that side of me, but oh my god, I don't know where I'm just totally rambling. Yeah, you have
Well,
a good point on the vulnerability piece. Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And yeah, it's best not to go out with anyone who has addictions regarding your ex-boyfriend. That's a good thing that, potentially you broke up. I don't know if you broke up or just kind of fizzled out,
Yeah.
is because it's just, it usually screams like some kind of trauma, or especially if you want to have kids, it's just not always the best way to have
No.
the partner with an addiction, yeah.
Alina, I wanted to ask you because sometimes I wish that I could have someone just watch my dates. Like, I wish I could just videotape them because I think that the person that I am when I'm dating, I mean, I feel pretty calm and normal, but it's possible that I am kind of being different on my dates. Like I'm becoming a little girl, I'm like, giggling awkwardly, and I was just wondering, do you have any practices that you recommend to people to kind of assess how they are showing up on dates to like make sure they're kind of in their most authentic self?
Sure, so they're mock dates,
Okay.
right? That's one way, but if you wanna assess yourself, one indicator is just to kind of take the pressure off by thinking that you're just meeting with a friend or a colleague and just be your natural self. I know, like, when people go on a date, they're kind of like, oh my God, I have to perform, or like I have to be really self aware. But it's actually a lot of times the couples that form, they just kind of curious about each other, or like they were talking about things, but more in a friendly way. And then it grew into something. Just like, a couple of stories that um, a lot of times it's about that,
Yeah.
like taking the pressure off.
I love that. I think that's so wise, and it's so good to be able to give yourself the space to do that. I think that I've always felt rushed to date, even when I was just in middle school. Well, not in middle school, but definitely in my 20s. I already felt like I was so old. I can't even believe it looking back now how young. But my 20s, I felt like there was this huge clock, right? And like, if you don't get married by 35, you can't have kids. And now I'm 44, and I just talked to him the other day who just had a baby. I'm 49. I mean, it's crazy how technology is changing. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
but I feel like if I had given myself that time, and that's kind of what I want to do now is give myself that time to make friends in a relaxed way. So I guess I don't know what I am talking about right now. You're bringing me in these different directions of my brain, but I guess like I could.
So one of the things we were talking about is you building your own community and attracting people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know what it is, 'cause I think that like, I'm trying to break down my preconceived notions about dating because I see myself getting into a space where I'm like, I've tried everything, and I don't wanna be one of those people who have like, "Well, I've tried that. Well, I've tried that. Well, I've tried that." Um, and maybe this is an impossible question to answer, but someone like me who's been at this for a while and feels like they've tried everything, do you notice any common blind spots of things that, like, people haven't really tried?
Well, it's very personal, right?
Mhm.
So it depends, but it could be part of the thing is like, what are the qualities you're looking for,
Mhm,
and typically the type of person you're dating, right?
mhm,
So, maybe make a list of your exes and what do they have in common? So there might be a pattern
mhm,
there. And if for some reason or another that you broke up or it didn't work, you just have to kind of dive into that and see what is it. And maybe that's not a good type for you. And then the next type that you have to be after, it has to be someone different. So for instance, from my personal example, I used to date like the charismatic guys, like the guys that come in and like they are so confident. They seem confident, but in the end of the day, they might not be as good in a relationship.
mhm,
So I've noticed that pattern. And so at the time I decided, okay, I'm self-aware that this is happening. I don't want that anymore. I
mhm,
want to actually date someone that's maybe not the center of attention for sure, but of course he is like for me, it's important that his words match with his actions. So that was what I was looking for. But he was not someone who was like the loudest person in the room at all.
hmm. Alright, here's maybe a controversial question. Are there enough men to go around? I mean, thinking about all the accomplished women are getting higher levels of education than ever before. We're doing all this spiritual work and self-help. I mean, there's just a really limited supply, and we're all kinda competing for this really tiny pool of emotionally mature available men.
That is a great question. And especially now that women becoming more and more powerful and educated and very, they go after their dreams, maybe they're business owners, and there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth. About 40% of global wealth is going to be owned by women by 2030. There's a statistic, right? So there's a huge shift that's going on. And because of all the education that's we can access, we have so many more rights than we used to. So we cannot really expect to have the same dating dynamic anymore.
Mhm,
And that's part of the reason why I see more and more women hiring matchmakers. It's just more of like a marketing thing. And second of all, it's just helping themselves and they need to outsource that.
mhm.
As you noted, it could be that the supply of, so to say, like earning men or whatever that quality that you're looking for is definitely becoming not less, but it's more competition towards that kind of men. So
Amazing. Okay, so if I were to say to you, "Hey, Alina, what's up? I am so busy running my company. I just need you to take over this dating thing for me. I want someone around my age, around like 40 to 50. It's okay if they're younger as long as they don't mind the fact that I'm older or older and you don't mind that I'm younger. I want him to be willing to like start trying to have kids immediately with my frozen eggs. I want him to be kind, want him to be involved in personal growth. Like, wouldn't hurt if he had kind of like a muscular chest. Those are nice qualities, and that he would be attracted to someone like me. What would be can I was like, "Can you please just set me up with on dates?" How would you go about that?
so I would definitely see like where are you open to date, right? Whether it's just where you're at or is it like a global thing?
Global
Um,
search, as long as it's sunny,
okay.
not
That
terrible cold weather.
That's a great start.
Yeah.
And then also see like what kind of maybe qualities that you appreciate. Is it him having a certain profession or like internal qualities, like for instance, whether you want someone who is usually a business owner because they are creative or like they're, persistent, and or you want somebody who is like a blue collar. People also, some women are attracted to that.
For me, it's
Or
important.
someone who is in finance or science. There's so many different things,
True.
but I would suggest just going for the qualities. Like, is
Mm,
he kind? Is he persistent? Is he curious? What about political views? It's also very important nowadays, or religion. Those are all, but like it's definitely a personal curation. So you need to ask yourself those questions
mm.
and to see what's really important to you and what's not that important to you.
And then you would just go on LinkedIn and connect with 200 guys or something like that?
Well, usually it's not only LinkedIn. Usually they're probably in my circle. Let's say if you're open to date someone in New York, or they have a couple of places,
Mhm.
right? And then depending on whether they want to have kids or not have kids, their age range, what they're open to. So for instance, I had someone that I was trying to help yesterday, and she doesn't want to have kids, but the guy that I reached out to, he has 3 kids, but he does want to have more kids. So, yeah, that's a deal
Quick, send
breaker
them
for
over.
that's a deal breaker for him. So, like so that's important too. And what are some other things that I would say, like, more of the internal qualities? If religion is important to you, that's really also like something that you have to share similarity, right? Or for instance, some people who are business owners, they do want to have someone who is more of a corporate type because they all balance each other out. But
No.
some business owners want to have date a business owner too. So that could be, an interesting
I mean, I like
outcome.
entrepreneurs, but it's not really because they're an entrepreneur. It's because I find that entrepreneurs have this open-mindedness and curiosity that's very exciting, and flexibility that
Yes.
for me, but I feel like profession, religion, politics, it doesn't matter that much to me. I just want someone, as you said, like kind, persistent, curious, healthy, and then who wants the same things in terms of family. For me, I mean, maybe through dating, I would find things would change. But, like, for example, if someone's right wing, but they're open minded and willing to talk about things, then I feel like no problem. If someone, is like religious and wants me to go to church or synagogue or mosque with them every week, like, fine, I can do that. You know, I'm
Yes.
believe something that's not that's against science, but I'll go to the thing with them.
Yes, well, I do suggest that since you're open, I
Mhm.
do suggest that you meet someone based on how they treat other people.
Mhm.
Kindness, generosity, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be in terms of money, just generosity in terms of time and effort. And also, like, as you said, whether they're open-minded. Like, to me, those are like, personally, those are like the most qualified people. And then it comes to more, they might be younger than you. There's a trend that's happening right now that women date younger men, and that might be one route to go, because the ones that are energetic and they're active, sometimes in the age range of like 40s, they're just not, some men are not keeping up with them. So they might date someone younger.
Sure. Actually, that was the advice this woman who just turned 50 and has this adorable baby, she, ended up connecting with a guy who's 15 years younger than her. It was probably the most emotional episode I've ever had. I was, like, sobbing the entire time because we both, tried IVF, like, so it's crazy. But okay, so persistent, kind, curious. So the problem with that, Alina, is like you can't go on LinkedIn or Bumble or Hinge and look for kind, curious, and open. I mean, those are just not qualities that are easy to search for in a database unless so how
That's
do you
true. But you are paying like a matchmaker, for instance, you're paying for their personal assessment and connections.
got it.
And a lot of times, like for instance, if you were my client, right? I already know men that I can connect you with. And that's been built over years, right? So that's where the matchmaking comes in, is that
Yeah.
human touch and human experience of me either knowing what their dating lives were and how they, come up and show up in the relationship, or certain things that they carry as people, especially that I host in-person events.
Yeah.
And for me, I definitely can see how that people interact, how they behave, and the
So
ones that are
you
the good ones and the ones that are probably not the best ones. So,
so you can tell me today, honestly, you
Mhm.
have people in your database who have those qualities who you think would be interested in someone like me.
Yes.
Wow, that's really amazing. So that's
Yeah,
good. That's encouraging.
of
There might be
course.
there for me because I really have kind of given up on it. Okay, so let me ask you a theory, another theory. So, you meet these guys, they seem interested in you, they flake out. Do you think that if a man is like, okay, I'm ready for marriage with a nice looking, kind brunette who wants kids and is intelligent, and they met someone, they would flake out, or would they just be on it to the end? Like, is it about the male readiness more than about you or something on the date?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's both, right? For some people, they might not be ready for marriage, but because they met someone, they
Mhm.
actually like, okay, this is someone I want to pursue, and like nothing is going to be in my way. So, that's kind of a motivation. And for some men, they've been kind of ready to do that, and the next woman that they feel like could meet their, whatever it is, like the qualities, they actually so I've seen it both ways.
Hmm, interesting. I mean, but do you think that if a man like, if I go out with a man and he is kind of flaky, do you think it's probably, like, more that he's just not really looking for or ready for something long term?
Um, and what do you mean by flaky? I wanna kind of see what you mean by that. Is it like him not communicating well, or he's not, like, putting in the action? Tell me.
I mean, like, the last guy I dated, he just was telling me that he wasn't sure if he was ready for a long-term relationship or ever would be again because of the experience he had with his ex.
Yeah. Well, I think that's on him in a sense that he probably had some really bad experience.
Mm,
And there's usually some time that the guy needs to deal with it, whether it's going to therapy. Well, not everyone goes to therapy, right? Or just kind of being bitter about it. Unfortunately, when people divorce and it was not a very good amicable divorce, they are bitter for at least a couple of years. It could be even more. So I think he was potentially pretty honest, if that's
mhm.
the true reason. So if
Yeah.
you feel like you don't want to be stuck wasting your time, if he's bitter about women, or in general he's bitter about dating, you definitely don't want that.
Yeah. What do you think about just I mean, there seems like there's all these rules in heterosexual relationships, like, if a guy doesn't text in 3 days, he's never really gonna be that interested. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, I went on a guy this weekend, it seemed like we had a really nice time, like, he was very, like, kind of, like, pretty affectionate, and then I think, like but at the end of the day, he didn't, like, say, like, "Oh, when am I gonna see you again?" or something,
Mhm.
and I just wasn't sure, like, should I just say, "Okay, whatever, this guy doesn't want it enough."
So tell me, like, where do you find all these men? how do you how do you find them? Or like, is it online? Is it in person a lot of times? Tell me.
Yeah, yeah, we're circling back here. I found this guy on Bumble.
Okay.
I was trying to use this 55 dating rule where you can only get 5 matches or swipe 50 people, and I was trying to be a little bit more careful than I usually am about in terms of what their goals are. Um, but, I have I met a guy on a boat. That did not go very well in the end, but it was fun. The sailor.
Okay.
So
Um,
that's when I'm really in my vibe. People just walk up to me on the street. It's amazing. But yeah. Cool.
so yeah, it depends. Like I know that unfortunately the dating apps nowadays, they have less and less quality men, not because they're bad or anything like that. It's just men and women, they're both kind of tired of dating. So I see that trend of people going off the app. So I
Mhm.
think the best solution for you is to host like online
Yeah,
dating events. Maybe
exactly.
that will be one of the ways to find someone that you will get to know and not just like, and because you will be talking to them without any pressure, it's more of like, okay, how was my event? And
Mhm.
that's how, I met someone is we didn't have any pressure, no expectations. But when I spoke to him, I just felt like a lot of curiosity. And
Mhm.
so did he. And later on, it just kind of that curiosity took us somewhere. It wasn't that I was just immediately attracted to him, but yeah, so that's, and there's this statistic that I think a majority of couples that last, they actually were not initially attracted to each other. So they were both
Wow.
apparently curious, or they were like kept running into each other. And that's why a lot of romance happens during people working or like colleagues, because they kept running into each other and
Mhm.
getting to know. So I think community is part of that narrative, that you actually need to be able to build relationships with people and be curious about them and not assume anything, just maybe ask questions.
Mhm.
And that's how you will potentially meet someone for yourself.
I think it's such a good insight. So often, I think less so now that I'm a little more mature, but in my 20s, I just always thought, oh, if a guy doesn't immediately show he's attracted to you and ask for your number within 10 seconds, he's just never going to be into you. And that's not really how life works. So and I think when you can take the pressure off of thinking, is this going to be romantic or not? It just allows you to be a lot more organic with people, especially if you're doing some type of activity. So I love that you're hosting these events as well. It's really nice. Um, so how about, okay, so I'm wondering, I have some friends who are about, a decade younger than me, and I realize, wow, like I cannot think of a single person to introduce them to. I mean, these women are just so wonderful, and I just can't think of anyone, and they can't really think of anyone for me. I just don't feel like I know any men of quality to present them to. So I wonder, like, how can I be a good matchmaker for them? I guess you
So
said events, so maybe I could,
that's
yeah.
one of the ways. Yes, I think you will be really good at that. And um, if you don't know any people, you have to expand your social circle. And it could be part of it's like cold traffic that you will get to know over time. And that's how I built my business as well. I started with hosting events, and that's something that I really want to do. And it's part of my business is to meet people in person, because I lacked that interaction or like that social group as an immigrant
Mm,
living in New York City. You don't really have your
sure.
family here.
Yeah, okay, so let's see, maybe you can help me troubleshoot my event. I thought it would be cool to have an event for digital nomads because 'cause I'm a digital nomad, and I'm like, "Find your forever travel buddy." And so I organized this event for February 14th, and I decided to charge $10 because I thought maybe people who are more serious would come and then people would actually show up. And I love online events, but I'm starting to feel like this might not be appealing to anybody because only 2 people have signed up, my best friend and this one guy I told you about, who knows, maybe he's my soulmate. And I posted it to maybe 40 or 50 different groups that have 200 or 300,000 people in them. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong here.
So a part of it is like proactively reach out to to the community that you're targeting. Like, is it convenient for them to attend at that time, right? Like, so we have to cater to the people that we're kind of targeting. Like, who is our person? Like, who do I want to attract to this event? And
Yeah.
then you can reach out by sending them an email blast. From what I've heard in your previous episodes, you do
Oh,
have you do have a quite an email list, correct? So definitely
for
can
fans who
do
are
that.
hosting, though.
I do like the fact that you charge something because this way people have a little bit of responsibility, they're not just gonna ghost you at the event. And then you can create like a meetup or Eventbrite. I used Eventbrite platform and I
Okay.
advertise on Eventbrite, or you can advertise on Meta. And that's how you can actually pull more people that will get to know
Yeah,
about
maybe
this.
I have to pay to play. But also, I think
Yeah.
that maybe you're starting to be respected, so people know you're legit, whereas me, I'm just like, "Here I am." Maybe I should put a picture of myself, and then the people who are attracted to me will sign up, like, "Meet me." It's my what is, like, the
Well,
nostalgia, like, the coming out party or something.
was it just like a for you to test? Or I mean, I just wondering, why don't you want to host something for singles since you're looking for a single
That was
guy?
a speed dating event, like, for
Oh, it's
singles.
a speed dating. Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Um, well, yeah, part of it is like an active reach out. And we
yeah.
think, oh, yeah, somebody will see it and they will buy it. But unfortunately, we have to proactively reach out. Sometimes it's about like maybe writing a personal email why they should attend, knowing what they're looking for, or texting someone. Like for you, even if you get 10 people to sign up, well, first of all, you have to be aware that like for some cities like New York City, it's really about the 2 days before the event. Some events are like
For
people are like
sure.
still deciding whether they want to come or not, or whether they're able to make it. But since it's a virtual event, I think, it's just more about like the proactive marketing that you need to do potentially.
I love that, so just put more into it. Oh my gosh, amazing. Okay, I mean, we've touched on so many topics. Is there anything that we didn't discuss that you feel like is really important to add? I feel like you've given me a lot of really useful tips and I really drilled you and I'm so grateful to how you have been responding to my questions and it's just I feel like I've learned so many new things even though I've talked to so many matchmakers already. Anything else that you want to add?
Well, I think that it's good that you have this curiosity, and it's good that you have certain goals. It's just for you right now. So whenever I go to like Matchmaker Alliance conferences, or there's going to be one in New York City, that's coming up, I always like
Oh,
take the lead and talk about the hosting the events and how it's important in our day and age that people want to meet in person, and we just all lack this kind of
yeah.
like personal touch and communication. So I think that's a great way for you to take that lead, and wherever you're at, to build that community, even if it's digital or maybe in person. But it will start small. Maybe your friends will show up at first. So I started with like 25 people, but I had to call a lot of people for them to get those tickets. And, it was not like, I knew it was not going to be like a big event right away. And
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of big events. So
for
yeah,
sure.
the
For
smaller, the
sure.
better, the more intimate. So
I agree. I agree. Alina, amazing. Okay, can you just tell us how people can find you, how they can work with you? I'm going to share your website too.
sure. So my company's name is Monde Matchmaking, and it actually has this hosting NYC upper matchmaker.com, and they can find all that information there. It's Instagram is Miss NYC Ginger because I used to be Ginger. And
That
yeah, basically you can find me there, or I also have a YouTube channel. Maybe Manisha will kind of collaborate. We can collaborate on the YouTube
ah,
channel.
absolutely, for
Yes.
sure. We're going to get it up there. Put an event on
Yeah.
there too.
But I'm mostly present on Instagram. And when you Google like New York City matchmaker, my Instagram shows up, I think, on the first page. So you're
Amazing.
welcome to DM me, or just text is actually the best way to communicate. So you can find all that information.
Amazing. Well, this has been such a treat. I am so excited to know you, and I want to come to your events when I'm in New York City, hopefully with my boyfriend. And just thank you so much, Alina. You're a delight.
Well, thank you so much, Manisha. And I'm actually hoping that you will not just give up on the first event. That's what a lot of
Okay.
people do. You have to kind
No,
of keep
just to be
rinse
consistent
and repeat
moving
and build your
forward.
own
Yeah, absolutely.
build
Well,
your
thank
own community. It's a lot of work, but it's rewarding. So hopefully
it's a
you'll find someone for yourself.
yay. All right. Well, everybody, please visit New York's NYC/matchmaker.com and check out Alina on Instagram, Miss NYC Ginger. And have a wonderful day, Alina. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.